أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to the class again. How are you all? Everything okay? Good. Let me just set up a few things quickly. I'm getting, you know, in Urdu we call it lit latif. I'm usually always setting stuff when I'm joining the class. I used to be better. So I hope all of you are fine. Had a good break. Good Eid, mashallah. So I heard you had a lot of fun with family. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Imran. So thank you for joining again. And I hope your Eid was fine and you had some good time. It's getting chilly out here. Walaikum assalam, Talha. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. All right. Okay, good. So today, what are we going to do today, inshallah? Today we are going to look a bit more into the fi'l and the jumla fi'liya, the fi'l-based sentences, but also try to bring the fi'l-based sentences and the ism-based sentences together. Okay, so we try to bring them together and see how they operate. Then I will give you, if time permits today, I will give you, inshallah, some insight into some additional forms of present tense fi'l. Once that's done, then probably it's a good idea to practice it with the Quran. So we'll probably jump into the Quran and do some Arabs and just try to understand how much we have achieved. So this is where your ism studies and your fi'l studies will start to come together. Okay, so it will start to come together, inshallah. So I hope you got a chance to review the lectures that we did last time, and you're up to speed. And we can directly jump into the new topics. If not, please tell me if there's any problem in the exercise, if there's any particular question you want to answer to, or you want me to address, we can do this here, no problem. Okay. Otherwise, I will just share my screen with you in a minute, and we will kickstart. Let me share my screen with you. Give me a second. Here we go. So you should be able to see my screen, inshallah. Okay, in a minute or so, you should be able to see my screen. Okay, so you can see my screen. Good. So let's quickly review. The two types of sentences. Okay. Let's review the two types of sentences. Okay, let's review the two types of sentences. What I've done is I've created this chart for jumla ismiya and jumla fi'liya. Instead of going to the bulleted list, I just wanted us to fill it together. So I want to know, let's start with the jumla ismiya. I want to know what are the mandatory parts of jumla ismiya. What are the three parts of jumla ismiya? Remember, we labeled them 1, 2, 3. We labeled them 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So what are the parts of jumla ismiya? What is the mandatory part of the jumla ismiya, which was number 1 for us? Do you remember that? Start moving your brain juices, inshallah. So you know this, right? So it was mubtada. Okay. Mubtada, exactly. Mubtada was the mandatory part of the jumla ismiya. What else? Number 2 and number 3. What was number 2? What was number 2? If it was mubtada number 1, what was number 2? Okay. Number 2 was khabar, right? Khabar. And then number 3 was muta'alliq bil khabar. Muta'alliq bil khabar. So we should be comfortable with this, inshallah. Okay. Mubtada, khabar, muta'alliq bil khabar. Three parts. And we said, that's right. And we said mubtada is mandatory. Khabar is optional. and muta'alliq bil khabar is also optional. However, we also said that one of these two must exist, isn't it? We said one must exist. One of them must exist. Okay, that was the structure of our jumla ismiya. Okay? This is how the jumla ismiya looks like. So I hope this is clear. This has to be very clear in your mind, inshallah. Okay. Then let's talk about what can be mubtada. Do you remember what can be mubtada? Tell me what can be mubtada. I'm interested in that. What really can be mubtada? Okay. A mubtada can be two things we have learned so far. Okay. Number one was it can be an ism, an ism which is marfu. I'm just using some terminology so you get used to it a bit. Okay, ism which is marfu, meaning ism in rafa, correct? Which is meaning ism in rafa. Okay, ism in rafa. That's exactly what it means. Okay. Can I reduce the font a bit? Wait a second. Let me just reduce the font size a bit. Okay. Okay. Yes. Ism in rafa. Exactly. That means ism in rafa. And then we said it can be harf nasab. It can be harf nasab. Yes, plus ism. It can be harf nasab plus its ism. The harf of nasab and its ism. That's what we said, isn't it? That's what we said. So an ism which is in rafa is called a marfu. Yes, we did that in the very beginning of the classes. So I'm just giving you some terminology so you start to get used to it. Okay? Now you're quite well advanced in that. So harf nasab plus its ism. This can be mubtada, right? Now khabar. What can be khabar? What is khabar? I'm interested in knowing what can be khabar. Khabar can be khabar can be ism marfu, right? Ism in rafa, isn't it? The khabar can be ism in rafa. Okay? Ism in rafa status. Correct. So it's an ism in rafa status. Okay? And muta'alliq bil khabar. What is muta'alliq bil khabar? Muta'alliq bil khabar can be jar majroor, which is harf of jar fragment. Yes, jar majroor, which is harf of jar fragment. Correct. Correct. And what else? And what else? Idafa with zarf. Okay? Idafa with zarf. Idafatan with zarf. Let me just put it in brackets with zarf. Okay. Idafa with zarf. And what was zarf? Zarf were special mudafs that show time and place. That show time and place. Okay. This is your jumla ismiya. Okay. This is your jumla ismiya. The sequence that you're looking at, 1, 2, and 3, is a standard sequence. Correct, Allah. The sequence you're looking at is a standard sequence. Standard sequence, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So the sequence can fluctuate. Sequence can fluctuate. We have not done that yet in detail, but it is not something very unusual, right? So you will see sequences fluctuating here. Okay, in this jumla is in this case. I can give you a very quick example here. Very quick example here. Because of the Eid, I can give you this example. So in the Surah Fatiha, you recite Alhamdulillah. You recite Alhamdu, which is your mubtada, and then you say Lillah. Alhamdulillah. Oops. Alhamdulillah. What happened? Alhamdu lillah. Alhamdulillah. That's what you say, right? Alhamdulillah, which is not khabar, in fact, which is muta'alliq bil khabar, writing it on the wrong side. Okay? Alhamdulillah. This is what you recite every day in your salah. Alhamdulillah. But when Eid comes, what do you do? What do you do? You say Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahil hamd. Lillahil hamd. What you do, you switch places. You switch places. Okay? In case of Eid, you would rather say Lillahil hamd. Okay? Lillahil hamd. Isn't it? Lillahil hamd. In this case too, this alhamdu is a mubtada. Alhamdu is a mubtada, and lillahi is a muta'alliq bil khabar. There is no change there, but the places are switched. The places are switched, and the switching of this place reflects that the standard sequence of the jumla ismiya has changed, and there are always reasons to change the standard sequence of the jumla ismiya. In this case, it's more exclusivity given to Allah. So if you translate Alhamdulillah, you would say all praise and gratitude are for Allah. When you say Lillahil hamd, you would say for Allah only, or for Allah alone are the praise and gratitude. So it's more emphasis, kind of more weight in the statement. Okay, so that expression is hidden behind it. So there are subtle differences when you change the standard sequence of a jumla. So we will do that inshallah in future classes when we go and understand the advanced Nahu stuff. Okay, so but that's your jumla ismiya. That's your jumla ismiya. So you should be quite comfortable with it, inshallah. Okay? Now let's move on to the jumla fi'liya. Let's move on to the jumla fi'liya. In jumla fi'liya, we said we did not have 1, 2, 3 because we didn't want to confuse with the jumla ismiya. Rather, we had A, B, C, and D. Yes, we had this B, C, and D. We had A, B, C, and D. We had 4 parts. We had 4 parts. Let's revise what those 4 parts were. The number 1 part was the fi'l, which is the action. Right? And then B was fa'il. It was fa'il, which is the doer of the action. The doer of the action. Okay. And then we had the maf'ul. Okay, maf'ul, which is some detail about the action. Okay, some detail about the action. Maf'ul is some detail about the action. Okay, and D was muta'alliq bil fi'l. Muta'alliq bil fi'l. Yeah, muta'alliq bil fi'l. All right, muta'alliq bil fi'l, which is some additional information about the fi'l. Some additional information about the fi'l. So you're right, Imran. Thank you very much. Fi'l, fa'il, maf'ul, and muta'alliq bil fi'l. Okay. This is how the structure, the standard structure of jumla fi'liya looks like. Okay. Now let's see what was each of them. Each fi'l has to be fi'l, you know. Okay. Fi'l has to be a fi'l. It could be a fi'l mudari or fi'l mazi. I'm giving you terminology. Let me know if it is getting difficult for you, because I don't want to overload you with terminology, but these are the terminologies that you know. Okay, you know them already, so there's nothing special about this. Okay, you know these terminologies. We've done them in the class. Inshallah, you should be okay. Okay, fi'l mazi is the past tense fi'l. Yes, fi'l mazi is the past tense fi'l, and then fi'l mudari is the present tense fi'l. The fi'l could be any of these. Okay, When we say present tense, we say present plus future, isn't it? It's a present plus future. Okay. That's A. That's fi'l. This is the first part. And then you have fa'il. What can be a fa'il? What can be a fa'il? What can be a fa'il? A fa'il can be a pronoun. A pronoun. Okay. Let me write it in English this time. Pronoun. Pronoun. Oops. Inside pronoun. Let me write it that way. Inside pronoun. And a fa'il can also be an ism marfu, isn't it? Which is an outside pronoun, which is outside doer. Outside doer. Outside doer, which is ism marfu. Meaning an ism in the rafa state. Meaning an ism in the rafa state. Yes? That could be a fa'il, the doer of an action, in both cases. In the past tense case and in the present tense case. Okay? Now, maf'ul. What can be maf'ul? Maf'ul can be a ism in nasab state. Yes? An ism in nasab state. That's what we call ism mansub. Mansub. Ism mansub. Okay? Ism in nasab. Mansub. All right? That's a maf'ul. It's always ism in nasab state. The detail of the jumla ismiya was a khabar, right? We used to call it khabar, and it was rafa. But in the fail case, it has to be nasab. Okay? Then we had muta'alliq bil fi'l, which is same as the muta'alliq bil khabar in jumla ismiya, that is jar majroor. Okay? Jar majroor. Okay? All right? This is something related to the action. Okay? Is there any confusion about this? I want these concepts to be clear before we proceed. Okay? Is there any confusion about this? Anything that is bothering you? Okay? If this is clear, then we are good, inshallah. Okay? Then we are good. If it is clear but not really practiced, then we are also good. But if it is not clear, then we are not good. Then we need to revise a little bit. Okay. Now, what I want to do today here. So, first, I want to know if it is okay. Give me one if you're fine with this. Give me one if you understand this. You're comfortable with this sequencing and all the concepts of this jumla. This another thing we need to do here, which I forgot completely. Before you give me one, please wait. Hold on. Hold your ones, please. I want to know which one is optional and which one is mandatory. Okay. So A was mandatory for us. Okay. A was mandatory for us. Fa'il was mandatory. Fa'il was mandatory. Okay. These are all mandatory. Right? Maf'ul is optional. And muta'alliq bil fi'l is optional. Yes, Talha, please go ahead. Ask. Ask. What is the question? Good. Thank you, Imran, for the one. Is it related to this topic, Saha? In the doer exercise. Okay, so let me, yes. Okay, let me go there quickly. Okay, so you want to know 43, number 14. Okay, let's do this. Now, do you understand what is ja'a? Do you understand what is ja'a, the highlighted one? Is it a present tense or a past tense? Do we understand that? If it is a present tense or a past tense? And if so, what is the hidden pronoun? Do we understand it? I'm not thinking about the iza right now. Iza is a harf. It's just a harf. I'm leaving it out. It means when. Yes, it is a past. It is a past tense. Okay? Fi'l madi. Okay? It maps to nasara. Correct. And therefore, it has a huwa inside. Right? It has a huwa inside. Right? And when we have a huwa or hiya inside, we cannot blindly say huwa and hiya is the inside doer. We have to always look for an outside doer. Right? So we go forward, and for the outside doer, we need an ism in rafa. And when I from here, I did find an ism in rafa, which is nasru. Nasru. I found this ism. I found this ism. However, when I analyzed it, this ism was light with no al, and it was followed by a jar. Okay, so I cannot just detached Nasru from Allahi, because this is a full-blown fragment, right? I cannot disconnect the fragment. So what I'll do is I'll assume, okay, this entire thing is my outside doer, okay? The entire thing is my outside doer, because I cannot disconnect them, right? Because of the Nasru, originally Nasru, only Nasru was the outside doer, but because if it is connected to Allahi, I have to take the full pack. Okay, but don't wait here. But when I move forward, I found in which is a connector, right? Now this connector means to connect, meaning whatever comes after it and whatever comes before it is connected. Whatever comes after it and whatever comes before it is connected. So meaning you cannot disconnect al-fathu with the previous fragment. And what is the reason of fathu being rafa? The ism should be nasab if it is a detail. It can only be rafa if it is an outside doer, isn't it? It is only rafa because it's an outside doer. And it's rafa because the effect of being an outside doer is all the way to al-fath. You understand? So what you have to do here is you cannot just stop at Nasrullahi, you have to go beyond it and you have to box it out completely. This entire thing is going to be a doer. This entire thing is going to be a doer. Nasru is help. Help. Fathu is victory. Victory. Okay? Victory. So Iza means when. You recite this surah all the time, right? Iza ja'a nasrullahi wal fath. It means, and you always translate the doer first. You say, when the help and the victory of Allah, when the help of Allah and the victory, when the help of Allah and the victory comes, past tense, yes. Understand? So all of this is going to be your outside doer. Okay? Now let's go back here. So is this clear now? Is this comfortable? Are we comfortable with this? Yes. Yes. Nasrullahi is idafa, and wal fathu is an independent ism but connected through a waw. Yeah, but connected through a waw. Wal fathu is an independent ism, just connected to the waw. Nothing special about this. Okay. Because there's a connector, we cannot disconnect it, right? So that's the reason. All right, cool. Excellent. Good, guys. What we need to do now is move forward and see what we have to do next. So now that you have good grasp of the structure, I want to give you I want to give you uh, a concept of embedded sentences. Embedded sentences meaning when Jumla Ismiya comes and plays with Jumla Fi'liya and Jumla Fi'liya comes and plays with Jumla Ismiya. That's embedded sentences. It's not difficult. It's now that you know all of this, it's pretty simple. Okay, it's pretty simple. Okay, so what I want to tell you here is it's something I will write here in the same table, so we have everything in the same place. Okay, everything in the same place. So in the case of Jumla Ismiya, a Jumla Fi'liya can come and play. Okay, as soon as you, let's say, find a Mubtada, after the Mubtada, you may see Jumla Fi'liya coming in. Okay, in that case, your Jumla Fi'liya becomes your Khabar. In that case, your Jumla Fi'liya becomes your Khabar. We'll see how it happens when we do the practice. Okay, just hear me out right now. Okay? So I'm going to say that again. If you have a Mubtada, it is possible that after the Mubtada you find a fi'l. And as soon as you find a fi'l, it is a start of a Jumla Fi'liya. Okay? So it's quite likely that Jumla Fi'liya is your khabar. So what I'm going to do here is, under the khabar, I'm going to write a Jumla Fi'liya. Okay? I'm going to write Jumla Fi'liya here. Okay? Okay? This is possible. Oops. This is possible. Completely possible. Okay? Absolutely possible. Okay? A khabar of Jumla Ismiya can be a Jumla Fi'liya. A khabar of Jumla Ismiya can be a Jumla Fi'liya. Okay? We will see that today, inshallah, in some examples. Okay? Same story here. Same story here. Okay? Same story here. A maf'ul of Jumla Fi'liya. A maf'ul of Jumla Fi'liya can be a Jumla Ismiya. In case of fi'l-based sentences, if you have a fi'l-based sentence, instead of a maf'ul, you may find a beginning of Jumla Ismiya. Okay, you may find a beginning of Jumla Ismiya. Okay, so that Jumla Ismiya then becomes a maf'ul of the fi'l-based sentence. Okay, so I'm going to write Jumla Ismiya here. Okay? It's the opposite thing. What happens is Jumla Ismiya goes to Jumla Fi'liya, says, hey, I want to become your maf'ul. Jumla Fi'liya says, okay, let's make a deal. If you become my maf'ul, I can also then become your khabar, right? So Jumla Ismiya can be a maf'ul in a Jumla Fi'liya, and a Jumla Fi'liya can be a khabar in a Jumla Ismiya. Okay? Okay? Nothing really nothing really special about this, right? one level up. I'm gonna raise the level a little bit up after this. Okay. So in the ism based sentence, after the mubtada, just like you found jumla fi'liya, you can also find another jumla ismiya. You can also find another jumla ismiya. Okay, jumla ismiya, which is completely fine. Is completely fine. So the jumla ismiya can be a khabar of another jumla ismiya. All right. I'm just giving you this structure so you understand. Okay. A jumla ismiya can be a khabar of another jumla ismiya. That's also possible. These are all embedded sentences, and they're not difficult to detect. As soon as you find the mubtadas like ism in marfu or harf of nasab with its ism, you know it's the beginning of jumla ismiya. And instead, if you were expecting a khabar and a mubtada came, then it's a clear evidence that it's a khabar of a previous jumla ismiya. We'll do some practice, inshallah. Okay? And as you would expect, jumla fi'liya is not sitting behind, right? Jumla fi'liya says, okay, I can also become part of my own maf'ul. So jumla fi'liya can have a maf'ul which is another jumla fi'liya. Okay? The kind of all possible combinations. Jumla fi'liya. Okay? So these are two new things that I wanted to teach you today. Okay? And there's nothing more to teach other than just doing some practice. There's no new concept as such, just to other than doing new practice and some labeling terminology changes, but that's less important. Okay, as far as you understand. Okay, this table that we have constructed should become a kind of a template in your head, in your mind. What exactly is a jumla fi'liya? What exactly is a jumla ismiya? Everything comes together. Everything comes together, and you have good grasp of what's going on. Okay, inshallah. Okay. So now that I've told you this, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to jump into the exercise. Okay, I'm just going to jump into the exercise, and we'll do that exercise in the class and see where we go, inshallah. So what I've done is, if this exercise is not in your notes right now, I will send you this exercise, but I have brought it here. So we could do that in the class a little bit, and then we will, inshallah, I'll send you the remaining ones to practice at home, which will, inshallah, give you good insight. Okay. So what I'm looking at is the number one. These are embedded sentences. Embedded sentences. Okay. I'm looking at Ar-Rahmanu Allama al-Quran. Okay. We know this from Surah Rahman, right? So I'm starting from this side, right? Left-hand side. Always starting from the left-hand side here. Okay? So what I find is Ar-Rahmanu. So what do you think Ar-Rahmanu is? What do you think Ar-Rahmanu is? Ar-Rahmanu is an ism in Rafa, clearly, isn't it? It's an ism in Rafa. So as soon as you see or harf of nasab or its ism, you should be thinking, is it a mubtada? Okay, because it is a mubtada, right? So what you do is effectively call it one. Mubtada is one. This is number one. This is our mubtada. Okay. Now, what you have exactly, it's an independent ism. There's no fragment operating. It's just an ism in Rafa. Okay, just an ism in Rafa. I cannot say it's a khabar because there's nothing before it, right? There's nothing before coming it that justifies it being a khabar. But when I go forward, I was khabar or a muta'alliq bil khabar. I was expecting a khabar or a muta'alliq bil khabar, and I know khabar should be another ism in rafa, or muta'alliq bil khabar should be a jar majroor or a zarf, idafa with zarf. Yes, but what I find instead is allama. What is allama? What is allama? What is allama? Tell me. Allama. Yeah, it's a fail. It's a fail. It's a past tense fail. It's a past tense fail. It's a past tense fail, right? It's a past tense fail. Yes, it's nasara. Nasara. Exactly. It's nasara. So it has a huwa inside, isn't it? Huwa inside. It's allama huwa inside. So this is my A and B. The fail and the file, isn't it? It's my fail and the file. Right? This is the beginning of my jumla fi'liya, right? It's the beginning of my jumla fi'liya. As soon as I see a fail, it's the beginning of a jumla fi'liya. As soon as I see a jumla. So now I was expecting a khabar, an ism in rafa, but I didn't get it. I got a fail instead. But I'm not panicking here. I say, okay, something is going fishy here, but let's move on and see what's happening. Okay. So then I move forward, and because it's the beginning of jumla fi'liya, I will stop finding the khabar for now. I will rather start go and finding the maf'ul or muta'alliq bil fi'l. Okay, because it's the beginning of the jumla fi'liya. So I move forward. I move forward and I find what? An ism in nasab. Ism in nasab. What does that mean really? So after the fi'l, I have found an ism in nasab. What can I label it? What can I label it? I saying to Ar-Rahmanu that you started the sentence, great, but now I've jumped into it. Now whatever comes after me is mine. Whatever comes after me is mine. You cannot just go and jump bypass me and just make something yours. Okay, it's mine because I am the jumla fa'iliya now, right? So jumla ismiya is staying there. It's staying there. It's the beginning of the sentence, but allama has started a brand new jumla fa'iliya. And this brand new jumla fi'liya is going forward and it's finding al-Qur'ana, which is an ism in nasab. Yes? And it has to be a maf'ul, which is our C, right? A, B, and C. Yes? And there is no khabar, right? And the sentence ended. And our jumla ismiya has a mandatory requirement that one of the two, either khabar or muta'alliq bil khabar, must be present. Yes? Present. So can I say Ar-Rahmanu is not Mubtada? No, it is still a Mubtada. But what we have is an entire Jumla Fi'liya here as a Khabar. This entire Jumla Fi'liya as a Khabar of the Jumla Ismiya. Okay? This entire Jumla Fi'liya as a Khabar of Jumla Ismiya. This concept is called Fi Mahalli Khabar. Let me write down here. Okay? This concept is Mahalli Khabar. This means in place of Khabar. In place of Khabar. Fi Mahalli Khabar. It means we were expecting a Khabar or a muta'alliq bil khabar, but rather we got a jumla fi'liya. So we're going to consider that jumla fi'liya as a khabar, and we're going to label it not as halli khabar. It's okay. It's in place of a khabar. So this is a typical example of how embedded sentences work. Okay. Ar-Rahmanu allama al-Qur'anu. Ar-Rahman, the most gracious or the most merciful, he taught the Quran. Allama is he taught, right? He taught. He taught what? Al-Qur'ana, the Quran. Yes, correct. Correct, Imran. Perfect. Yes. Okay. It's not difficult, is it? It's not difficult, really. It's not at all difficult, inshallah. Okay. Let's do another example. Okay, again, I'm starting here. I'm starting here, and I'm looking at inni, right? I'm looking at inni. I know inni is attached pronoun, right? Inna and ni comes together as attached pronoun, right? So this is the beginning of my, right? It's a and it's ism. Harf of nasab and it's ism. In this case, the ism is the pronoun. So I'm going to label it 1. Okay, this is my mubtada. So I'm happy with it, right? Where is the attached pronoun is fi'il? In attached pronoun in fi'il? Which one you're talking about, Talha? Are you talking about inni? Yes, yes, yes. It's not in fi'il, but I think you wanted to say harf of nasab, right? So it's a harf of nasab with attached pronoun, correct? Yes. Inni is harf of nasab with attached pronoun. The attached pronoun is the ism in nasab, right? So now that you have found mubtada, which is inni, you were expecting a khabar. Again, what have you found here? What have you found here? You have found vahana. Vahana. What do you think is vahana? What do you think is vahana? Is there a khabar here at all? I do see an ism in Rafa. I do see an ism in Rafa. The way I'm thinking as a student, oh, I do see an ism in Rafa here, right? So khabar is ism in Rafa, right? So potentially this could be a khabar. Why cannot I label it a khabar? That's because we have vahana before it, and we need to first understand what is vahana. Once I understand what is vahana, I would know if I can label it as a khabar or okay. Uh, is it mapping somewhere? Is it mapping to any chart, the present or the past? Yeah, it's vahana. It's a nasara, right? It's a past tense. Huwa. It's a past tense. Huwa. It's a past. Huwa. Okay, past tense huwa, which is nasara. Now I have found the past tense huwa. Okay, when I see a huwa in a past tense or a present tense, I should always look for what? I should always look for an outside doer. I should always look for therefore outside doer, and I found an ism in rafa. And I found an ism in rafa that is going to override the huwa inside the vahana, isn't it? So this al-azmu is an outside doer. If inni goes to al-azmu, says, hey, al-azmu, you are my khabar. Al-azmu is going to say, no, sorry, I'm not. Don't you? That is my outside doer. So go talk to vahana. So inni goes talk to vahana. Vahana says, sorry again. You started the sentence, but now it's me. I have just popped in. Everything after me is mine. Okay? Everything after me is mine. So al-azmu becomes an outside doer for vahana, right? Then we go forward. This is the beginning of jumla fi'liya again, isn't it? Then we find minni. What is minni? Minni. What can I label minni? Any ideas? Minni. Is there something happening here? Okay. So minni for me is a jar majroor, isn't it? It's a harf of jar fragment. It's a harf of jar fragment. Correct. It's a harf of jar fragment. So what I know harf of jar fragment can exist in a jumla ismiya as well as jumla fi'liya. So what should I label it? Should I call it muta'alliq bil khabar or should I call it muta'alliq bil fi'l? What should I call it and why? Muta'alliq bil khabar, Tala, you think? Okay, and what makes you think not muta'alliq bil fi'l? So we need to understand because minni is equally valid for both sentences, right? So it could be muta'alliq bil khabar in a jumla ismiya and it could be muta'alliq bil fi'l in a jumla fi'liya. But remember, as soon as you begin the jumla fi'liya, as soon as you begin the jumla fi'liya, yes, it started with mubtada, correct, but but jumla fi'liya popped in, isn't it? Jumla fi'liya popped in. This is a jumla fi'liya. And when jumla fi'liya popped in, Wahana says, everything after me is mine. Everything after me is mine. Minni is connected to Wahana in jumla fi'liya, isn't it? It is connected to Wahana in a jumla fi'liya. It's too distant from inni, right? There's a lot happening between inni and minni. So there's a stronger justification to call it al muta'alliq bil fail because it's part of the jumla. To call it a muta'alliq bil khabar, yes, when inni is actually already struggling with the wahana as a khabar. You understand? So anything when you see the fail as part of a jumla ismiya, the words coming out of that after that fail belongs to that jumla fi'liya. Okay, they would not usually break out and belong back to the jumla ismiya. Okay, it's happened rarely. In advanced courses, we'll do a few things about this, but at this point in time, everything after the fail belongs to that fail, right? So this minni is not going to be a jumla muta'alliq bil khabar, rather it's going to be a muta'alliq bil fi'l. So what I'm looking at is Vahana is my A and B. Sorry, is my A, which is the fa'il. Al Azmu is my B, which is the fa'il, the outside doer. And Minni is my D. We do not have a maf'ul. We have a muta'alliq bil fa'il. Okay? We have muta'alliq bil fa'il. And because I could not find a khabar, I'm going to go and label this entire jumla fi'liya as my khabar. Okay? Any confusions? Any questions? Tell me. Mhm. Okay, give me one if it's okay. Give me one. Okay, give me one so I know. Good, excellent, very good, very good, very good, very good. Okay, good. So let me take another one. Number 5. I'm doing number 5. Okay? I'm doing number 5. Okay? Right. وقالوا وقالوا اتخذ الرحمن ولدا. وقالوا اتخذ الرحمن ولدا. Okay? So wa is a connector. Wa is a connector. All right? Kalu. What is Kalu? Kalu. What do you think is Kalu? Can we map it somewhere? Can we map it somewhere? What is Kalu? Is it an ism? Is it a fi'l? What do you think it is? So qalu maps to somewhere, right? So we need to understand what type of word is it. Is it an ism or is it a fi'l? If it is an ism, we need to understand the status, number, gender, type. Okay? Because that is an ism. Otherwise, it's not an ism. It has to have 4 properties. Okay? Yeah, it's a past tense fi'l, nasaru. It's a past tense fi'l, nasaru, right? So it has a whom inside. It has whom inside. It's a past. It's a past. Okay? Kalu, nasara, nasara, nasaru. Kala, kala, kalu. Okay? Kalu means they said. They said. Okay? They said. Now, this is a beginning of a jumla, isn't it? Fi'liya. And because it's whom, it cannot have an outside doer, right? It cannot have an outside doer. So it is a fa'il for me, and it is also a fa'il for me, right? It's A and B both. It's A and B both. Okay, it's a fa'il and a fa'il. It gives me both. Okay, then I can go and look forward for a maf'ul. I can go and look for a maf'ul or a muta'alliq. So I started here. I found this, and now I'm going forward here. Okay. Yes, and I found ittakhadha. Yeah? Ittakhadha. I found this. Ittakhadha. What is this? This looks like a huwa form of nasara, isn't it? Of past tense. This is a past tense. Again, past. Huwa. Ittakhadha is like nasara. Like nasara. Okay? And because it's huwa, I must look for an outside doer. So I go forward. I go forward and I found this ism in Rafa. Doer or outside doer. Okay? That means ittakhadha is just a for me, a fa'il for me, and ar-Rahmanu is a fa'il for me. It's a fa'il for me. Right? Ar-Rahmanu is a fa'il for me. Okay? And then I go forward and I found this walada. Yes, and walada is a maf'ul because it's an ism in nasab, right? Coming in a jumla fi'liya, therefore it is a maf'ul. Correct. Now the question I have for you is, this is a maf'ul to which fi'il? Is it a maf'ul to qalu, or is it a maf'ul to ittahaza? It is a maf'ul to which fi'il? Qalu or ittahaza? Correct. So I want to know, is qalu going to own walada as a maf'ul, or ittakhasa going to own walada as a maf'ul? Who's going to own it? Well, we all agree that it's a maf'ul, inshallah. Yeah. You mean the qalu? No, Talha, it's not going to be qalu, it's going to be ittakhaza. So remember the concept. When the second fi'l comes, it overtakes all the words coming after it. Okay? It starts to own all the words coming after it. Okay? So qalu came, and qalu owns ittakhaza as its own maf'ul. Qalu owns ittakhaza as its own maf'ul. Okay? And everything related to ittakhaza. Everything related to ittakhaza. Because qalu was expecting a maf'ul or a muta'alliq bil fi'l. It didn't find it. It rather found an entire jumla fi'liya. So qalu is going to say, okay, ittakhaza, if you want to own every word after you, I will, okay, I will own you. For every word after you automatically belongs to me, okay, as a maf'ul, right? So qalu owns the entire jumla is fi'liya starting from ittakhaza, this point, big highlighter, starting from ittakhaza all the way to walada. All the way to walada. This is qalu. This is qalu's ownership. It's a maf'ul to qalu. Okay? It's a maf'ul to qalu. Okay? But ittakhadha says, okay, fine. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this, but every word after it is belonging to me. So walada belongs to ittakhadha. Ar-Rahmanu is a outside door, belongs to ittakhadha. Okay? So when you see another fi'l coming, it will override and it will take ownership of all the words coming after it. So because it's a beginning of a new jumla, you cannot take a thing out of a jumla and and put it to a previous fi'l. This sentence, it's like a quotation mark. They said, and then there are quotation marks here and ending here. Okay? They said, and then there's a sentence in the middle. Okay. Look at the translation we have here. Look at the translation we have here. You see these quotes? Okay. And they said the most merciful has taken a son. Nauzubillah. Yeah. Okay. So this most merciful is based or has taken is referring to ittakhaza. It's a fi'l. And walada is a son. Okay? The most merciful rather. Okay? Is this clear? Any confusions? Any confusions? Before I move. Give me one if it is clear. Give me one if it is clear. Uh, Wait a second for that. So Talha, there is no khabar here because there is no ism, right? There is no jumla ismiya here, right? So the whole jumla fi'liya, the whole jumla fi'liya, starting from the ittakhaza all the way to walada. The whole jumla fi'liya starting from ittakhaza all the way to walada. This one. Starting here, going all the way here. Okay? This is a maf'ul. This is a maf'ul. This is a maf'ul to kalu. This is a maf'ul to kalu. Okay? Right? Because there is no jumla ismiya, therefore there is no khabar here, right? Whereas if you dive more into the jumla fi'liya itself, this ittakhaza jumla fi'liya, you will find its own, which is and the walada, right? Good. Let me go. Great. Let me go to another one. How much time have we got? Okay, we've got. So I'm gonna do number 13. Let's say let's do number 13. Okay. Yes. Not as khabar, as a maf'ul. Correct, Imran. Good. So now let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's go slow one by one. I'm just looking at faqalu. Faqalu. I'm just looking at faqalu. Shall I change the tactic here? Faqalu. Okay, I'm just looking at faqalu. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at a connector, which is the fa connector. Okay, I'm looking at this connector. Correct. And what is qalu? Let's find out what is qalu. What is qalu? We just found out, right? In the previous example, it was also qalu, right? It is a hum form of the past tense. Of the past tense. Correct. Correct. So it is going to give me a fi'il and the fa'il, A and the B. Nasaru. Correct. Yes? So as soon as I have this, I have a beginning of what? Jumla fi'liya. I have a beginning of jumla fi'liya. This is my jumla fi'liya beginning. JF is my jumla fi'liya beginning. Right? So as soon as my jumla fi'liya begins, I can expect a maf'ul or a muta'alliq bil fi'l. Okay? So expecting that, hoping to receive it, I go forward and I find inna. And I find, okay, inna. Right? Yes, in jumla fi'liya, there is no mubtada and khabar, right? Mubtada and khabar are a concept of jumla ismiya, right? Unless you have a jumla ismiya, you cannot have a mubtada or khabar, right? So they only exist in the jumla ismiya. In jumla fi'liya, you have rather fa'il, maf'ul, and muta'alliq bil fi'l, right? The table that we made, Tala, in the beginning. So what we found was faqalu, which was a past tense hum form. It gave us A, B, which means fi'il and the fa'il, right? Fi'il and the fa'il, and it began the jumla fi'liya. So now I'm hoping to have a maf'ul or a muta'alliq bil fi'il because it's a beginning of a jumla fi'liya. But what I found is rather something different. What I found is an inna. What I found is inna. Now, inna is completely messing my mind. What is inna doing here? Because inna is a harf of nasr. and an attached pronoun, isn't it? Inna is a inna and na. Harf of nasab and an attached pronoun, and it is a mubtada, isn't it? It's a mubtada. It's one for me. It's a mubtada. Are you with me so far? Is that clear? So I'm getting something which was not expected. Okay, okay, fine. Now what I'm going to, the faqalu was a jumla fi'liya. I'm going to pause here for a while. I'm going to pause here. I'm going to pause the jumla fi'liya for a while because I've started the jumla ismiya now. Inna has started the jumla ismiya. So I'm going to pause the jumla fi'liya and let's see what's happening afterwards. And I go forward and I find sami'na. Sami'na. What is sami'? The first jumla fi'liya because I found inna. Now I found sami'na. What do we think is sami'na? Are we able to map it somewhere? If you just go word by word, just focus on one word at a time, you will inshallah get it. Okay? So think about it. Where are you able to map sami'na? Is it an ism? Is it something else? So you want me to repeat, Imran? I can repeat, of course. So what I've done here is we started with the jumla fi'liya. We started with the jumla fi'liya. We started with the jumla fi'liya here. Okay? And as a first step, I found a fi'il. And I said it's the beginning of a jumla fi'liya. Let me just write here. When I reached here, I found a jumla fi'liya. Okay? With the faqalu. Hum and fi'il and the fa'il are clear. It's a hum version of the past tense. So I have a fi'il and I have a fa'il. So as part of the jumla fi'liya, I expect a maf'ul or a muta'alliq bil fi'l. I found an inna of jumla ismiya, not jumla fi'liya. This is the beginning of jumla ismiya. So now what I'm doing, I'm pausing on the fi'l, and now I'm not expecting a maf'ul or a muta'alliq bil fi'l, rather I'm expecting a khabar. I'm expecting a khabar because I found the inna, the mubtada. So I go, and instead of a khabar, I found and sami'na is like nasarna, right? It's like nasarna. It's the nahnu version of the past tense. It's the nahnu version of the past tense. Nasarna, right? Nasarna. So it's again a jumla fi'liya popping up. It's again a jumla fi'liya popping up. So I was expecting a khabar, but I found a jumla fi'liya. Okay? But I'm not giving up here. I'm not giving up here. I'm going forward. Okay. Now for this jumla fi'liya, sami'na, I'm expecting a muta'alliq bil fi'l, right? I'm pausing on the jumla ismiya now. I'm not looking for khabar anymore. I'm not looking for muta'alliq bil khabar anymore because a new sentence has started. Okay? So I go forward. And I find Qur'anan. I went forward. And Qur'anan is nasab, which is a good sign, and it is coming after sami'na, which is a jumla fi'liya, right? And a nasab ism coming after a jumla fi'liya makes it what? A maf'ul, isn't it? It makes it a maf'ul. So again, also gave me a file. It gave me A and B. And Qur'anan is a maf'ul, meaning C for sami'na. Okay? It's sami'na. C for sami'na. Then I move forward. And I found another ism. And I found another ism, which is ajaban. Ajaban. It's again an ism in nasab. It looks quite like Qur'anan, right? So I could just run 4 properties very quickly. It's nasab, it's singular, it's masculine, it's common. The other one is nasab. Qur'anan is nasab, singular, masculine, common. So I can say, oh, it's a mawsuf sifa fragment, right? So this entire mawsuf sifa fragment, because it's a fragment, I'm going to call this entire mawsuf sifa fragment a maf'ul of sami'na. Okay? A maf'ul of sami'na. Because they're connected, isn't it? They're connected. Give me one if you're with me before I tell you more. Give me one if you're with me, if you understand this. Okay? Are we clear with sami'na as a jumla fi'liya and Qur'anan ajaban as its maf'ul? Good. Now I've sorted out this sentence. I've sorted out this sentence. Sami'na Qur'anan ajaban. I have understood this very well. I have the fi'il, I have the fa'il, and I have the maf'ul. Okay? Now I'm going one step back. I had inna, and inna did not get a khabar or a muta'alliq bil khayk. The sabla failure is khabar, because I was expecting a khabar after inna, but I didn't get it. So what I do is, okay, I say this is the khabar. This entire jumla fi'liya is a khabar of this jumla ismiya. Okay? Is a khabar of this jumla ismiya, which I told you we call fi mahalli khabar. Fi mahalli khabar. In place of khabar. Correct. Very good, Tala. Yes. This entire jumla fi'liya becomes the khabar of inna, the jumla ismiya, right? Now I'm going back one more word. Okay? Now, going down the qalu is still expecting what? It had the fi'il and the file, but it did not get a maf'ul or a muta'alliq bil fi'il, right? It did not get it. So can the qalu make this entire jumla ismiya its maf'ul? See, its entire jumla ismiya maf'ul. Yes. You understand? You see that? How the sentences are embedded? And just like we call in the jumla ismiya case, fi mahal, can I say it mahalli? Oops, wait a second. Fi mahalli maf'ul. In place of maf'ul. In place of maf'ul. Do you see this structure? So this was jumla beginning, and this was jumla fi'liya again. Okay? Jumla fi'liya beginning. You see that? Any confusion? It is interesting, Tala. It is very interesting. It's very mathematical. It's very logical, and it's simple. Yes, the way this language. Okay, you will see a pattern in this language, inshallah. That's very beautiful. So now you know. Now you see a very typical sentence in the Quran, starting with a jumla fi'liya, then you have jumla ismiya coming up, and then jumla fi'liya starting again, and everything comes together, isn't it? Now imagine if we did not have A, B, C, and D, and 1, 2, and 3, and you were writing mubtada, khabar, muta'alliq bil khabar all the time. It would have been real messy situation here, right? So if you understand this, that's great, excellent. So we just have 12 minutes, so probably I should not start a new topic today, which I wanted to, but we'll do that tomorrow. But I really want us to understand this, okay? Let's do another one, and then I'll close the class and leave the rest for you, okay? Leave the rest for you to practice, because I don't want to kill the thunder. I really want you to practice this, okay? Really want you to practice this yourself, okay? Let's do the last one. Number 14. Okay? So you should note that if you start to look too far behind a word, you would get confused. Just go one word at a time, one word at a time, inshallah. Look a little bit forward, of course, because you need to. But don't confuse yourself, which is too much in a distance. Okay, and then inshallah it will be fine. Okay, good. So what we have fur again, which is a connector. Okay, connector, and we found kala. Now you need to tell me what is kala. Yeah, kala past. Okay, which is huwa, past. Now I have found a past tense in huwa form. What should I be looking for? Should I be looking for an outside doer? I should be looking for an outside doer. Ism in rafa, because I found a past tense with huwa. Okay. Now what I'm doing here is I'm looking for doer, and I found this rabbu. I found this rabbu, and I want to decide if this is an outside doer for me or not. What do I need to consider before I make that decision? What should I be considering before I make that decision? Okay. Have a fa'il in the past tense, nasara form, yes, Imran, and we have huwa, and then we have a ism coming, which is in rafa. After it, every requirement is fulfilled, and I need to decide if rabbukum, which is also an idafa, rabbukum is an outside doer to the kala. Okay. Before you decide if something is an outside doer or not, also consider the words between them, between the kala and the rabbukum. Consider them, because it may be completely changing the game. Okay. So what you have here, you have kala. You started here, and you found a jumla fi'liya. Okay. And you expected all the standard elements of the jumla fi'liya, which is a fa'il, a maf'ul, and a muta'alliq bil fi'l. And expecting that, you go forward. And you found ana. What is ana? What is ana? Yes, ana is an independent pronoun. Correct. It's an independent pronoun. And what is the status of an independent pronoun? It's rafa. Yes, ana. It's rafa. A jumla, is it the beginning of a jumla ismiya? Can I say ana is the mubtada? Yes. And the qala was the fail, and I'm still looking for the fa'il. Okay. Now, if it is the start of the jumla ismiya, where do you think rabbukum belongs? Where do you think rabbukum belongs? Does it belong to qala, or does it belong to jumla rabbukum, the jumla fa'iliya that came first, or the jumla ismiya that just started? Where does it belong? Rabbukum. That's what I'm interested to know. In yeah? That's what I want to know. So Kala is still not sure what is the doer, because Rabbukum fulfills all the requirements. But Inna has started a new jumla. Anna has started a new jumla ismiya. Correct. Rabbukum would belong to Ana. Rabbukum would belong to Ana here. So this one is wrong. You cannot put Rabbukum as an outside doer because it's part of the Jumla Ismiya. Therefore, Kala, Ana would say, Kala, I cannot give you Rabbukum, so please use your inside pronoun. So Kala is giving you an inside pronoun, which is, and Rabbukum belongs to the Jumla Ismiya. Yes, it means after that, that jumla belongs to that jumla. That's what I said. Yes, by overriding, I mean whatever the words coming after that jumla, yes, belongs to that jumla. You're right. So Rabbukum would belong to Ana. Okay. Now Rabbukum is idafa and it's rafa, right? It's idafa and it's rafa. So I can easily say it's a khabar. It's a khabar, right? It's khabar. So now it's a jumla ismiya beginning. I found a khabar here, which is 2, and I move forward, which is al-ala. I need to understand what is al-ala. What is al-ala? I need to understand this. Okay? Al-ala. It's definitely an ism because it has an al. Yes? So I can do the 4 properties. Right? I can do the 4 properties. It has, because it has an al. So if I do 4 properties, if I say I don't know about the status because it seems inflexible, okay? It completely seems inflexible, okay? And I can also do 4 properties of Rabbu, right? Rabbu. Let's do 4 properties of Rabbu first. Rabbu is Rafa, it's singular, it's masculine, and it's proper. It's proper because the kum is making Rabbu proper. The word before of is proper if the word after of is proper. Okay, then I go and do the 4 properties here. I do not know the status of al-ala. It's singular. I'm not there right now because it ends with the alif maksura, which is one of the indications of fake feminine. Yes, which is one of the indications of fake feminine. So it could be a feminine, but let's wait. Okay? And it's also proper. Okay. Mawsuf Sifa fragment. The four properties must match. And we learned if it could be, it is, isn't it? We learned if it could be, it is. It means the most exalted. And you look at the translation. The translation says, I'm your most exalted Lord. I'm your most exalted Lord. If you look at this translation on top, look at this. Okay. I'm your most exalted Lord. So is most exalted not a sifa? And Lord is the Rabb, right? Lord is the Rabb. So most exalted is a sifa. So you get a very clear hint that these two properties that we are now writing right now are actually matching with the Rabbu. So I would label al-ala rafa, and I would label al-ala also as masculine, because it's a mawsuf sifa relationship. It's a mawsuf sifa relationship. Okay. So in the Jumla Ismiya case, because this is a fragment, Rabbukum al-ala, Rabbukum is connected, and then al-ala, okay, it's connected. You could label the entire thing. You could label the entire thing as khabar. You could label the entire thing as khabar. Okay. And now you have a very clear picture of the Jumla Ismiya. What should I do with the maf'ul? What the maf'ul? The Qala is still looking for a maf'ul, and it found a Jumla Ismiya. So what we're going to do is we're going to label the entire Jumla Ismiya as a maf'ul to Qala. As a maf'ul to Qala. And the Jumla Ismiya, and it is going to be called fi mahalli maf'ul. Fi mahalli maf'ul. Okay? Whereas the khabar is going to be called normal khabar, not fi mahalli. It's a normal khabar, right? Because in case of Jumla Ismiya, we got what we expected. In case of Jumla Fi'liya, we did not get what we expected. So we call it fi mahalli maf'ul. All right? Any questions? Yeah? Please give me one. Give me one if it is clear. If you're okay with it. If there are any questions, just write down. So what I'll do now is I will just leave this exercise for you. Of course, I will share this exercise with you, just the way we normally share. So there are a lot of there's still some outstanding. So you can do all of that. And remember, a Jumla Ismiya can have another Jumla Ismiya or a Jumla Fi'liya. Jumla Fi'liya can have another Jumla Ismiya or Jumla Fi'liya, right? Just keep that in mind. Keep this table that we made in front of you if you have difficulty recalling. Okay, so we have done these cases, and inshallah I will share this with you now, and please try to complete the exercise as much as you can, and inshallah tomorrow we will do some new concepts which are more about the present tense fi'l, and inshallah I will also try to bring some surah from the Quran that we can do i'rabs of, to bring everything together, inshallah, everything. So we're getting very close to do a final project or something like that. Okay, so just stay tuned, inshallah. You're doing great. Don't give up. It's very interesting. So inshallah, thank you for joining, and thank you for staying here. So inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.